everybody to our final. It's quite sad, isn't it, Sue?
It is.
So our final, it is. We've just been discussing, haven't we, about all our journey so far, because we're all on the hero's journey, we're all on the fool's journey, and we've both just been discussing, and I can't believe, A, how the time's flown, and how many different subjects that we've discussed. And we've done the first series, which was 8, all around the major arcana cards. So if you've not seen them, go back, find them. And then we did the royals, and we've done the minor, and we're finishing up today on what is quite a big topic, I feel, because I think it's a topic that a lot of people get caught up in and overthink and worry about, and that's intuition. And we're going to have a little bit of a deep dive into intuition, aren't we? And just how we see it and how we use it.
Absolutely. I think the big thing for a lot of people who are starting off on the tarot journey, and they're taking that first, I want to read for somebody else, and it's going, I can't, I'm going to get it wrong. Well, as long as you, as we've said in the videos, as long as you know the numbers and you know the element, you're there.
Yeah.
And it's your interpretation. Then it's your intuition kicking in. And trust it doesn't matter if you get it wrong. It doesn't matter if somebody says no.
That doesn't resonate.
Or it doesn't resonate. We all have had that experience. And the only way you'll get better is to keep doing it. So keep reading cards for anyone who will say yes. And then it'll suddenly, you'll be off.
Exactly. And the other thing is, I always say, you're not there to give somebody advice.
Absolutely.
You don't want to get on that rocky road, because that's your ego kicking in. The tarot guides are there for guidance. They're there to help people think about perhaps another path, another way through. Maybe they've come to you with a question, and you've turned some cards over and you've interpreted the cards. It's up to them to kind of piece the guidance together. It's not up to you to sit there and say, "Oh, leave him."
No, that's not your job.
Don't ever do that.
Never. That's not what we're here for. We are absolutely here to support someone's story, somebody's experience, to help. Basically, in fact, astrology is the same as a tarot because it's symbolic, and the symbols talk to us, and somebody always comes because they want clarity on something. That's why people come. They want clarity on a question or a situation, or they can't work it out for themselves. And that's why often tarot card readers and astrologers are kind of front line on this. Just don't forget, you're not there to forecast, or you can look at themes, but you're not there to be fortune tellers. You're there to support their journey.
Yes.
And
I always say,
telling, but I personally, like you say, be careful of the rocky road and the ego around all of that.
Totally. And I always say, I'm a tarot reader, I'm not a mind reader. I kind of set that out at the outset. And by that, my interpretation of that is that I turn a card over, and I do use a combination of years of knowledge about the cards combined with intuition. And it doesn't matter if you haven't got years of knowledge and you're new in a way. That new broom, that new excitement, that new energy that you're bringing to the cards will still be amazing for the person. And you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. What do I love about it? When does a person get to sit down for half an hour or an hour, have someone in front of them who's totally focused on their energy and their lives? And it's so lovely to have, I think, that time, that energy from somebody else there for you. because we're all there when we sit and do a reading. When I do and sit and do a reading, I'm there for that person, with that person. We're one. I try and make it a whole holistic experience.
I think the other thing it's really important, as you're talking about that, is this: they are in their own story. We're not. As astrologers, as a tarot card readers, we're not in that person's story. It's their story. And all we are, we're looking into their story with them. So that's why I'd be very cautious about making predictions, because people who are desperate will hang on to every single word that you say and can often mishear it and misinterpret it. So if you stay to the guidance and that sort of intuitive reading, especially when you're starting out, then I think you'll feel much happier and safer doing that.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And then people might say, the question might be then, okay, I don't know if I got intuition, or I don't know how it kicks in, or how do I know that I'm looking at some cards and that intuition is happening? I've got the pack here. I'm just going to pull 3 cards off the top. I've literally just shuffled them. I don't know. I honestly don't know what they are, people.
I'll tell you what, why don't you do them for me? So
yes, go on then.
I'll tell you when to stop shuffling. This is a really, by anybody watching, this is such a fun way of working with somebody. So, the King of Cups. If a card falls out of the deck, take note. Always take note. So I'm going to put him down, the King of Cups, King of Pentacles. Okay. And I'm going to start. You stop shuffling. Okay, so, and I just take the first, I'm going to invite you to take the first 3 cards off the top of the pack.
And we're going to do past, present, future.
And do, yeah.
So past, present, future.
Yeah.
There we go. So that was the past.
Yeah.
That's the present.
Yeah.
That's the future. Oh, this is very nice for you, Sue, isn't it? We see those quite well.
Yes.
So we've got, go on then, you're far away. Queen of Wands.
No, I'm not. This is your reading for me.
Oh, I am. It was just you were about to say something and I didn't want to interrupt you.
No,
so we've got Queen of Wands, the Moon and the Star. So I'm just, because it's a bit, so if we take the Queen of Wands as the past for you. So the Queen of Wands to me,
another cat comes in. She likes being a witch.
I know. So the Queen of Wands, for me, the Queens are all about patience. And with Wands is fire, so it's energy. And we talked about this lovely lady before in a gold gown and the red backdrop. And the cat.
Exactly.
Is there too.
Very serendipitous.
It's very serendipitous. So in the past, or the needy, and when I do a reading, especially if it's just a quickie 3 cards, as I call it, it's kind of everything around you now. I don't go way back. I don't go way present is present and way forwards. So with the Queen of Wands, and also I do like to kind of do them in some kind of, get some kind of context with it. So pulling one out and then doing it all the time. But the Queen of Wands for me is, let me concentrate a little bit. Let me just have a look. Let me take a moment. So as far as the Queen of Wands goes, as I say, it's all about patience, it's all about energy, it's all about, for me and for your life, Sue, it's about you've energetically, I think, gone down quite a few paths in your life in the past, and you have taken time recently to decide where do you want to best spend your energy. That you're very focused now, whereas before you might you've tried a few different things. I mean, we get to our ages and we have tried a few different things, but definitely with you, I feel now you are sitting there going, do you know what? I've tried this, I've tried that. I've put a lot of energy into something that really resonates with me. I'm going to sit with that now. I'm not going to go off trying something else. I'm really happy sitting there now, sitting in that energy, that feminine energy, that I'm exactly where I need to be right now. And that's where I would say this is your near past. So the moon, so this is the present. And I would say the moon is about, I think, and I know you love the moon, and I know in astrology that there's all sorts of things going on with the moon. But in this simple little mini reading and looking at the combination, I would say the moon sitting in your presence is all about just being careful not to be guided off track. That people will come in and say, "Oh, Sue," because you've got lots of great friends and colleagues, and there's always that temptation, I think, to take another path for you. But at the present, I think that's just a little bit of a warning saying, just focus on exactly where you need to be right now.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back a bit in a minute, but then in the future, the star. And the star's all about hope, and it just looks very lovely. And again, to me, I get a real sense of lovely energy around you. And with the star, I love the flow in and out of the water, and that ability to kind of keep creating a good balance, a good cycle of everything you touch now is going to kind of create this lovely, energetic, emotionally satisfying cycle going forward. I just feel you're exactly where you need to be right now.
That's wonderful.
That's a lovely reading.
Thank you. That's just so. I mean, I think that will give people an idea of how quick a reading can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can go into detail if you want, but it's very accurate for me. And when I looked at the cards, I resonated with all three of them. And I always love the moon because the moon is very enigmatic, and sometimes you can get stuck with the moon. But just remember, she's enigmatic. She brings the magic back into life. She's there to create magic, to bring up the unconscious. So it's just getting used to them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and as I say, as soon as I saw them, I said it's just a lovely, lovely set of cards for you. Well, and the Queen of Wands, I think, so suits where you are in your life right now, without a shadow of a doubt. And of course, you can do as well if you're just learning. Say you've just gone through our 8 videos on the Major Arcana cards. I mean, I just did the whole pack here. You could just do it with the 22. You have got 2 major cards to jump out. And this is just a reminder, these are the big answers.
Yes.
So this is quite an affirmative reading for you. This is quite, you're on the right path.
Yes.
Because if the majors turn up, it's a signal that whatever it is that you're doing, you're on the right path, especially with the star right in front of you. So if you wanted to just learn a little bit more and get really familiar with the 22 major arcana cards, there's no reason why you don't just pull 3 cards or 1 card, because you can do a daily. You could do a daily, what's my message for today? And if you just pulled one of these cards for the day, sit with it.
Yeah.
How does it feel? What do you see? What are the images that you see?
Yeah, and see what manifests for you. There will be something that mirrors that. It was just a bit like you pulled. It can be as simple as this: you pulled the Queen of Wands for me with the cat, and my cat immediately came right across my screen at that moment. It could have been anyone, but it wasn't. Now people go, "Oh, that's just chance." Just listen. Just go, "Oh, that's interesting." Just hold the space for all the magic, the occult magic to happen. Those little things. Yeah. And I think it's really important, well, what you're talking about journaling, and I know you're creating a beautiful journal for people to use as they go through the tarot card. But it's really lovely when you start to learn the tarot is just to jot down what you're feeling when you draw a card. Just notice and just Do you know what? Dive in. When I learned the tarot, absolutely.
I love it.
When I learned the tarot, I jumped in, I started reading friends' cards, and then I went to a shop and I said, I'm a tarot card reader, and I got the job, and I was there for about 18 months, 2 years, and I ended up reading in all the psychic fairs. This is when I used to live in London a long time ago. But I just went for it because that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up reading cards for big balls at the Dorchester Hotel. And, I mean, it's such a fun job. It is. If you really get called to it, go for it, you know?
And I think for me, so a little bit about my personal journey, I've been reading them, been around them and then reading them for decades and decades. And it's only of recent that I've started charging for it and doing more with it. And I had that imposter syndrome. Even though I've been reading them for 40, 50 years, I would read them because I wasn't concerned about the outcome. I'm not charging you. This is how it's going to, I'm quite happy to do it because I wasn't attached to the outcome. And I just think, if you're just doing them for fun and for friends, you don't need to be, you never need to be attached to the outcome, even when you're charging for it. That is one thing you've got to stay away from, because again, that's your ego kicking in.
Yes.
And then the other thing is that I've noticed, I mean, and all summer I've done loads of events, and I was sat outside a friend's canal barge, and people would come, a beautiful summer's day, drinking coffee and eating cake and sitting down and having readings, and the sun was out, and people want to be read. They're not sitting down to test you, you know, and the odd person might have certain expectations, but for me, I just lay out, this is how I read. Have you had a reading before? Even if you're just doing it for friends and family, have you had a reading before? Yes or no? Oh, how did that go? Just get that kind of ease going. And then if you want to, with me, I always say, you know, it's an intuitive reading. Feel free to share. You don't have to. It's your reading. It's your half hour. It's your hour. Absolutely. And it's just about trying to get into that calmer place and get out of your head, get out of your own way.
And for me, I went traveling for 6 months and I took my tarot cards with me, and that paid for my journey.
Yeah.
It literally.
I mean, where else?
So there's two wonderful ways of traveling. One is with a pack of tarot, and the other one is a pair of hairdresser scissors. So, you know, wherever you are, you can take a tarot and you go, look, you know, give me a $5. I'll do you 3,
exactly.
You know, stick it in your backpack and off you go. So you've always got something there that you can do an exchange with. So there's so many different ways you can have a relationship with the tarot pack, with the tarot.
And if it's
they love it,
just enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think my overriding message, if I'm just going to give one message, and I've had to take a leaf out of my own book with this as well, is just do it. And like you say, the more you do, the more you go out there, the more you practice, the more you sit with them. I mean, the day doesn't go by where I haven't got these in my hand and I'm not shuffling them, or I just pull a card for myself. Once a week I do a proper 3 card and I sit down and journal. But it's just that whole kind of, and I don't know, they take on a different feeling the longer you have them. Have you found that? The longer you have them.
The other thing I was going to say, if you're looking for a tarot pack, I love the Rider-Waite, and so does Gail Carol. You do too.
Yeah.
But what I would say, what I would say is go into a Waterstones or a Plate or Glastonbury or wherever you live, Totnes, all of these places. And they have lots and lots and lots of different tarot packs. And just instinctively think, that's the one that speaks to me. And then that's your pack. You may be one of these people that have 10 or 11 packs. I've only really worked with the Rider-Waite because that's the one that speaks to me. I have got screens, the other one, the Mystic Tarot. I used to use that. But I've always gone back to the Rider-Waite. But that's me and Gail. You may have a completely different call to there's fairy tarot, there's elemental tarot, there's star tarot.
Name it. Oh my goodness! There's even a Disney one.
There's a Disney
tarot. So honestly,
no, it's fun. But what I would also say to you, for my piece of advice, is get one really good book that as you're working through the tarot, your trusted book is with you and you can write notes in the book or you write notes in the journal. So you're constantly learning and you will constantly learn with the tarot. You will never stop learning about them. It's not possible.
And you have a favourite book. What's your favourite book?
Mine is the Juliet Sharman Burke, The Complete Tarot. I've had it for 40 years.
Okay, and now this is my current favourite, and I can't recommend it enough.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
And I just love it because it's very, it doesn't sit and give like meanings about the cards or the images. It's she's a life coach. She comes from a coaching perspective, which is my background and where I come from. And I can't recommend this enough. And it's one of those books that every time I read it, even if I read the same card and I know I've read that before, I find something different in it. And I think that's the beauty I think that's the overriding message of tarot is every time you pick them up, every time you do a reading, you will always, even if a few of the same cards keep appearing, dependent on the person or if it's for you or the layout or the question you're asking, you're always going to find something different, exciting, interesting.
Yeah. And you know what? Both of you, we wish you well on your tarot journey. And just to remind you that Gail Carol is in the process of basically writing everything we've talked about in all the sets of videos. So, and that's going to be on offer for you. So it'll be ready when it's ready, but we'll make sure that you know when it is ready. So
the first one is nearly done. I've made them in little bite-sized ebooks so people can use them, and you will be posting links below anyway, won't you? When they appear. So.
Okay, well, on that level, we're going to wish you well, and it's lovely to know that there's more tarot card readers coming into the world to help people to have more clarity in their life.
Exactly. And just please, on a closing note, enjoy them and just find the joy that we find in them. And I hope that people have seen how much we love and enjoy everything we do, from all the astrology. And I'd like to say thank you, Sue, for all the amazing astrology insights you've given, because I've learned a lot, and astrology is so impactful with the tarot. And from my point of view, if people want to learn more about you, Sue, and your astrology, you've got a whole YouTube channel here. They go search Sue, and she has some amazing, enlightening interviews right across the board. And I'm sure the pair of us at some point will be back.
We'll be back at some point. Sending you lots of love in the meantime. Bye for now.
Bye.